exist. Not just invisible, gone from reality itself. And the most disturbing part? You wouldn't know. Not immediately, because light takes time to travel. About 8 minutes. That means for 8 full minutes after the sun disappears, Earth continues like nothing happened. The sky is still bright. The warmth still touches your skin. Shadows still exist. Birds still fly. People laugh, talk, scroll, argue, completely unaware that the source of all life has already vanished. Those 8 minutes would be the last normal moments Earth ever experiences. And nobody would recognize them for what they are, the final seconds of a living world. Then it happens. Instantly, without warning, the sun disappears from the sky. No fade, no transition. One moment it's there, the next it's not. The sky doesn't turn into night. It becomes something far more unnatural. A deep, endless black, filled with stars that suddenly appear in the middle of the day. The moon vanishes too, not because it's gone, but because there's no sunlight left to reflect. The entire solar system goes dark in a single moment. And silence follows. Not literal silence, but a kind of psychological collapse. People look up. Confusion spreads first, then fear. Within seconds, panic begins.
Fear.
Because this is not an eclipse, not a storm, not something explainable. The sun doesn't just disappear. And yet, it has. Scientists scramble, but there is no explanation that matters anymore. Because the problem isn't understanding what happened. The problem is that everything that kept us alive is gone. Within the first hour, the temperature barely changes, but don't let that fool you. The Earth is already dying. Because the sun isn't just light, it's energy. It's heat. It's the engine that powers everything. From weather systems to ocean. Currents to the air you breathe. Without it, Earth starts losing energy immediately. Heat begins escaping into space, and nothing replaces it. By the end of the first day, temperatures begin to drop below freezing in many regions. It's subtle at first, but global systems are already collapsing. Solar energy disappears instantly. Power grids begin to fail as demand spikes. People turn on heaters, lights, anything to fight the cold and the darkness. But the system can't handle it. Blackouts spread. Cities go dark. Transportation stops. Communication weakens. Governments try to respond, but there is no solution. Because this is not a crisis you can fix. It's the end of a system. Within a week, the average global temperature drops to around minus 17 degrees Celsius. Oceans begin freezing at the surface, not instantly, but steadily. Ice spreads across the water, growing thicker every day. Beneath the surface, liquid water still exists, for now. But the surface becomes a barrier. Marine life begins to suffer. Plants die almost immediately. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stops. No energy enters the food chain. Within days, plant life collapses globally. And when plants die, everything that depends on them begins to die too. Herbivores starve. Carnivores follow. Ecosystems unravel. Oxygen levels slowly begin to decline. Not instantly, but steadily as the natural systems that produce it shut down. The air becomes weaker, less alive. A month passes. The temperature drops below minus 40 degrees Celsius. Survival outside becomes nearly impossible without extreme protection. Humanity retreats underground, into subways, bunkers, tunnels, caves. Anywhere that can trap heat. Geothermal energy becomes the only real source of warmth. Deep beneath Earth's surface, heat from the planet's core still exists. Some groups manage to survive there, for a while. But resources are limited. Food is scarce. Systems fail. Society as we know it is gone. There are no countries anymore. No borders. No global connection. Just isolated groups trying to survive in darkness. Months pass. The temperature drops below minus 100 degrees Celsius. Oceans continue freezing deeper and deeper. The surface ice becomes kilometers thick. Only the deepest parts remain liquid, holding the last surviving forms of life. The atmosphere begins to change. Gases start condensing. Oxygen and nitrogen, the air you breathe, begin to liquefy. Imagine that. The air itself falling from the sky, disappearing. Breathing becomes impossible. At this stage, Earth is unrecognizable. A frozen, silent world drifting through space. No weather, no wind, no sound. Just stillness. A year passes. The average temperature drops below -200 degrees Celsius. Almost all life is gone. Only microscopic organisms survive. Deep underground, near geothermal vents, far from the dead surface above. Humanity, if any remains, exists in tiny scattered pockets. No communication, no future, just temporary survival. And even that doesn't last, because Earth is still moving. When the sun disappeared, its gravity disappeared too. Earth stopped orbiting and shot off into space in a straight line. A rogue planet, alone, drifting further into darkness, further away from any possible source of heat or light. The stars you see in the sky, they look beautiful, but they are useless. Too far away to provide warmth. Just distant reminders of a universe that doesn't care if we exist. Over time, even geothermal heat becomes insufficient. The planet continues cooling. Energy runs out. Every system that once supported life disappears, and Earth becomes something else entirely. A frozen rock covered in ice, orbiting nothing, belonging nowhere, floating through the galaxy for billions of years. Silent, empty, forgotten. And here's the truth. Most people don't realize. Life on Earth doesn't end with an explosion. It doesn't end in fire or chaos. It ends in silence, in darkness, slowly, piece by piece, breath by breath. The sun isn't just part of our system. It is the system. Every drop of water, every piece of food, every breath of air, all of it traces back to that one star. And without it, nothing continues. Not for long. So what if the sun disappeared tomorrow? You wouldn't just lose light. You would lose warmth. You would lose time. You would lose every system that makes life possible. And the most disturbing part, for 8 minutes, you would still feel safe. You would still see the light. You would still believe everything is fine. While in reality, the end had already begun. And even after everything you've just imagined, the darkness, the cold, the collapse, you still haven't reached the most unsettling part of this scenario. Because the physical destruction of Earth is only one side of the story. The other side is psychological. What happens to the human mind when the sky never lights up again? When there is no sunrise to look forward to, no sense of time, no natural rhythm, within days, people would lose track of day and night completely. Sleep cycles would break. Time would feel meaningless. Hours would blur together. Without sunlight, your brain begins to change. Humans are biologically wired to depend on light. It controls hormones, emotions, awareness. Remove it, and the mind starts to weaken. Depression spreads faster than the cold. Fear becomes constant. Not sharp fear, but a slow, heavy pressure that never leaves. Because deep down, everyone understands the same thing. This is not temporary. There is no recovery, no waiting for things to get better. This is permanent. And when hope disappears, behavior changes. Cooperation turns into desperation. Resources become everything. Food, heat, shelter. These are no longer comforts. They are survival currency. And when survival is at stake, morality starts to fade. Not because people are evil, but because the situation forces it. The systems that once controlled society, laws, governments, order, lose their meaning when there is no future to protect. You're not preserving anything anymore. You're just extending the present for as long as possible. And even then, there are moments of silence, moments where people stop struggling for a second and just look up at a sky that never changes. No sun, no movement, just distant stars frozen in place. And in that moment, the realization hits fully. Not just that Earth is dying, but that it already has. What you're experiencing now isn't life continuing. It's life fading, slowly, quietly, inevitably. And far beyond Earth, the rest of the solar system shares the same fate. Planets that once reflected sunlight now drift in darkness. Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, all still there, but lifeless in a way that's even more absolute than before. The sun was the center of everything, not just physically, but functionally. Without it, the system doesn't just weaken, it becomes meaningless. Over millions of years, Earth continues drifting through the galaxy, occasionally passing near other stars, but never close enough to capture heat or light, just passing shadows in an endless void. The frozen oceans remain locked in ice. The atmosphere, long since collapsed, lies frozen across the surface. The planet becomes a time capsule of everything that once existed. Cities preserved under ice, oceans frozen mid-motion, a silent record of a world that was once alive. And somewhere beneath that ice, for a long time, microscopic life might still exist, hidden in the deepest layers, feeding off the last traces of geothermal heat, completely unaware of the sky, the sun, or the loss above. Life reduced to its most basic form. No thoughts, no awareness, just survival, until even that fades. Because eventually, even the internal heat of Earth runs out. Billions of years pass. The core cools. The last sources of energy disappear. And with that, the final traces of life vanish completely. Not dramatically, not suddenly, just quietly ending. Leaving behind nothing but a frozen planet drifting through space. And here's something even more unsettling. The universe doesn't notice. Stars continue to burn. Galaxies continue to move. New systems form. Others collapse. The loss of one star, our star, doesn't change anything on a cosmic scale. It's insignificant, completely invisible in the vastness of space. Everything that ever mattered to us, every human, every memory, every achievement, gone. And the universe continues exactly as it always has. That's the reality of scale. We feel central, important, but in truth, we exist on a small planet orbiting a single star, among hundreds of billions in just one galaxy, among trillions of galaxies. And when that one star disappears, our entire story ends with it. No record, no signal, no trace, just silence. So when you look at the sun, it doesn't feel dangerous. It feels normal, reliable, permanent. But it's not. It's temporary. Everything it gives us, light, warmth, life, is borrowed time. And one day, whether suddenly or slowly, that time runs out. Not just for us, but for everything connected to it. So, the question isn't just what would happen if the sun disappeared tomorrow. The real question is, how much of what we call life actually belongs to us? And how much of it only exists because that one star allows it? Because the moment it